Okay, we're back for quiz 32. Some of the scores from last week. A couple of good scores. Billy got a 26, Davey and Jean got a 28, John and Don got a 17, Stevie and Rita 21. That was one of their poor weeks. They were probably thinking about going away to Liverpool here. Andre, big shout out to Andre. And Carlin and Brian got a 14. So Billy and Jean was done well there. We had 28 and followed by Billy with 26, and taking that Billy doesn't like the music around there. Two good scores. So well done, Davy and Jean. Oh, and John and Dawn. Yep, good. Dawn and John I mentioned too. Right, we're going to go on. We're going to wee bit of a change this week. I'm not going to tell you which one is a connection round till the round's over. So you'll be thinking of every question. Is there a connection here? Just to make it harder, right? We're going to start off with round one. So this could be the connection round. Maybe it's not. What state is America's second biggest gambling resort in Atlantic City? Okay, it's in Atlantic City, the second biggest after Vegas. It's Atlantic City, but what state is it in? People saying it's a bad state. Now, just number 2. Which actress won her first Oscar for Kramer versus Kramer? Right, just make get this. We've seen in the news. Now you have to be specific. It's either or, but they're not the same animal, if you know what I mean. Geronimo was put down on the 31st of August with bovine tuberculosis, TB. What type of animal was Geronimo? Okay, so Geronimo was put down on the 31st of August with bovine tuberculosis. What type of animal was he? You must have seen it in the news. Wee tricky one. This is a tricky one for Stevie. I don't know where I told him this before last year. Who's the only British football team to have beaten Barcelona in the home and away games in Europe? Who's the only British team to have beaten Barcelona in the home and away ties in Europe? In fact, apparently they have a 100% record against Barcelona. I think I've only played them twice, but... Yeah. Number 5. Who's the only man to have been president and vice president without having been elected to either office? Who's the only man to have been president and vice president without having been elected to either office? And number 6, I'm going to give you 40 pints all our way. How many pints are there in a British barrel of beer? You know the big barrels of beer you get? How many pints are there in a British barrel of beer? If you're within 40, Eller said, I'll give you a point. Number 7, the TV comedy Rock and Chips was a prequel to which sitcom? The TV comedy Rock and Chips was a prequel to which sitcom? Now here's a tough wee one. I can picture you all starting to sing this. Fiddler's Drum had a song, and you all know it was Day Trip the Banger. And it mentioned 3 people's names in the song. The Fiddler's Drum, their Day Trip the Banger, mentioned 3 people in the song, three names. You get a point if you give me 2 names. You get a point if you give me 2 names. Right? Is there a connection there? No connection in this round. Okay, I'm going to pause it. I'm going to give you the answers. What state is America's second biggest gambling resort? And it's Atlantic City. It's in New Jersey. And which actress won her first Oscar for Kramer versus Kramer? Meryl Streep. And Geronimo was put down on the 31st of August with tuberculosis. What type of animal was he? Right. He wasn't a llama. He was an alpaca. He was an alpaca. The difference in a llama and alpaca is the size, the face shape, and the hair length of hair. So it's a different animal. Number 4, who's the only British team to have beaten Barcelona in the home and away ties in Europe? Dundee United. And who's the only man to have been president and vice president without having been elected to either office? Gerard Ford. And how many pints of beer are there in a British bottle of beer? And if you're within 40 other way, you'll get a point. Right, there's 288. So, no, sorry, there's 320. How many is there? Yes, there's 288. So if you said anything between 248 and 328, you get a point. So anything between 248 and 328, you'll get a point. The TV comedy series Rockin' Chips was a prequel to Only Fools and Horses. And there are 3 persons' names mentioned in the song Day Trip to Bangor by Fiddler's Drum. And you get 2 for a point. Right, what was Elsie? Elsie and me, we had about 1 cup of tea. And on the way back, I cuddled with Jack. So you have Elsie and Jack. And then on the bus, Flo said to us, so it's Flo. So Flo, Elsie and Jack. So if you're saying 2 of them names, give yourselves a point. Right, round 2, and it's music. I know people don't, Billy's not fussy on the music, but this is 60s. So Billy should do a bit better. Billy should get an extra few points this week. It's 60s. Now, Josie, I think could maybe get a 7 or an 8, possible 8. Stevie could be up there. So here we go. There's 2 tricky ones. Just who had a 60s hit with Death of a Clown? Who had a 60s hit with Death of a Clown? Right, here's lyrics from a famous 60s song. Hope you got your things together. Hope you are quite prepared to die. Are lyrics from which 60s hit? Hope you got your things together. Hope you are quite prepared to die. Are lyrics from which 60s hit? Number 3, who were Gary Puckett's backing group? They had a big hit with Young Girl. So who were Gary Puckett's backing group? Number 4, who had a hit with in 1968 with the Ballad of Bonnie and Clyde? And number 5, what dance is mentioned in the songs Bohemian Rhapsody and A Whiter Shade of Pale? So there's a dance mentioned in Bohemian Rhapsody, and it's also mentioned on A Whiter Shade of Pale. Here's one of the tricky ones. It's actually 3 tricky ones. Which group had a hit in 1967 with the song Peekaboo? I like their stuff. It's a bit unusual. I like their stuff. I was watching a couple of their songs. Went on to YouTube and had a listen to a few of their songs. And I think they had a wee bit bigger hit than this here as well. But this was one of their hits. Peekaboo. Who sung it? The last 3's a wee bit tricky. Number 7. Who played the guitar on the 67 hit Classical Gas? Okay, so it was only a guitar instrumental. So who played it? Classical Gas from 1967. And here's a good wee number here. Haven't heard it in the radio. I might put a wee request in 89 FM next week or something. Which duo had a hit in 66 with Lovers of the World Unite? Okay, so which duo had a hit in 66 with Lovers of the World Unite? Right, have you got is there a connection here? No connection. Right, I'm going to pause it, rewind it. I'm going to give you the answers. Who had a 60s hit with Death of a Clown? It wasn't the Kinks, it was Dave Davies from the Kinks. Ray Davies' brother. It was Dave Davies. Hope you got your things together. Hope you're quite prepared to die. It's Bad Moon Rising, Clearance Clearwater Revival. Who were Gary Puckett's backing group? Who had a hit with Young Girl? Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. And who had a hit in 68 with the Ballad of Bonnie and Clyde? Georgie Fame. And what dance is mentioned in the songs Bohemian Rhapsody and A Whiter Shade of Pale? The Fandango. Which group had a hit in 67 with the song Peekaboo? They also had a big hit with Winchester Cathedral. It was the new vaudeville band. Who played the guitar on the 67 hit Classical Gas? It's Mason Williams. And which duo had a hit in 66 with Lovers of the World Unite? David and Jonathan. Right, we're going to go on to round 3. Number 1. What's the time? 10 minutes. Who did Daniel Craig marry in 2011? Okay, it's an actress. Who did Daniel Craig marry in 2011? Could this be the connection round? What was Gulliver's first name in Gulliver's Travels? What was Gulliver's first name in Gulliver's Travels? Number 3. Hydrophobia is another name for what? Hydrophobia is another name for what? Number 4. What is a leapling? What is a leapling? L-E-A-P-L-I-N-G. A leapling. And number 5. Which country has the most Portuguese speakers? Which country has the most Portuguese speakers? And number 6. What is a polyglot? What is a polyglot? Okay, number 7. Dr. Seuss, the kid's author, Dr. Seuss. The Dr. Seuss books, Cat in the Hat and all that. What's the author's real first name? What's the author's real first name? And number 8. Which one of the monkey's mothers invented correction fluid? So he was born into a millionaire's family because she made a lot of money less. So which one of the monkey's mothers, that's a group, invented correction fluid? Like a Tipp-Ex sort of thing. Correction fluid. Who was the monkeys? Which monkey was it whose mother invented correction fluid? Right, I'm going to go over, pause that and go back, and I'm going to give you the answers before we move on to round 4. And just get the connection there. No, there's no connection. No connection to this one. Maybe I'll keep it to last. Right, answers. Who did Daniel Craig marry in 2011? Rachel Weisz, W-E-I-S-Z. What was Gulliver's name, first name in Gulliver's Travels? Lemuel. Hydrophobia is another name for rabies. Number 4, what is a leapling? Somebody that's born on the 29th of February is a leapling. Which country has the most Portuguese speakers? It's not Portugal, it's Brazil. And what's a polyglot? A person who can speak a few languages. Dr. Seuss, the kid's author, what's his first real name? Theodore. And which one of the monkey's mothers invented correction fluid? That was Mike Nesmith. Mike Nesmith. Okay, we're going to go into round 4. So I start in another 8 minutes, so 2 o'clock. So, number 1, round 1. What name is given to the oldest member of the House of Commons? Or it could be the longest serving member. So what name is given to the oldest member of the House of Commons or the longest serving member? Number 2. Who had a hit in 1990 with Can't Touch This? Okay, who had a hit in 1990 with Can't Touch This? Give me number. I think Stevie might get this one. Which Man United manager also managed Aberdeen? Okay, which Man United manager also managed Aberdeen. Number 4, a wee maths question. What is a quarter plus 2 eighths? What is a quarter plus 2 eighths? Okay. Number 5. Which English physicist who was an expert on black holes died in 2018? Which English physicist who was an expert on black holes died in 2018? Number 6. Who in the Bible was the father of the 2 disciples, James and John? Who in the Bible was the father of the 2 disciples, James and John? Number 7. Which film features a nightclub owner in Morocco during World War II? What film features a nightclub owner in Morocco during World War II? Famous film. Number 8. Scooby-Doo. What's the next one? What's a connection? Number 8. What's the connection? So this is your connection round. What's the connection for them answers? I think a couple of these will get this. Okay, if you want to pause it, I'm going to give you the answers. What name is given to the oldest member of the House of Commons or the longest serving member? Father of the House, who had a hit in 1990 with Can't Touch This, MC Hammer. Number 3, which Man United manager also managed Aberdeen? Alex Ferguson. What is a quarter plus 2 eighths? It's a half. Which English physicist who was an expert on black holes died in 2018? Stephen Hawking. And who in the Bible was the father of the 2 disciples, James and John? It was Zebedee. And number 7, which film features a nightclub owner in Morocco during World War II? Casablanca. And what's a connection? Okay, with father of the house. So we've got father time. MC Hammer, it's Hammer time. Alex Ferguson, Fergie time. Quarter plus 2 eighths, half time. Stephen Hawking, famous book, A Brief History of Time. Father of James and John, Zebedee. He finished each programme with the children, it's time for bed. And Casablanca, Dooley Wilson sings in it, as time goes by. The connection was time, so I'm sure a few of you got that. Time. That's a good one. Okay, we're going to the last round. I have to go and start here. Number 1. Which bird speaks in an Edgar Allan Poe poem? What bird speaks in an Edgar Allan Poe poem? That's like a tongue twister. A Poe poem. Which bird speaks in an Edgar Allan Poe poem? Who was the first woman to be elected President of the Republic of Ireland? Okay, that's number 2. Who was the first woman to be elected President of the Republic of Ireland? 3 minutes, about 19. Number 3. How many dragons are there usually on the TV show Dragon's Den? How many dragons are there usually on the TV show Dragon's Den? Here's a wee gardening one for you, all the ones that like their gardening. This gardener was born in West Berlin. How is the TV gardener Montague Dennis Wyatt, better known as? Born in West Berlin, how is TV gardener Montague Dennis Wyatt, better known as? Number 5. From which country was the king in the movie The Keen and I? Okay, so what country was the Keen and I from? What country is it in? Number 6. What's the name of the aerospace company founded by Elon Musk? What's the name of the aerospace company founded by Elon Musk? Number 7. In which decade did the BBC first broadcast in colour? In which decade did the BBC first broadcast in colour? Right, here's another one. I'm going to give you 25 years either side. In which year was a wind turbine first used for electricity? In which year was a wind turbine first used for electricity? So you've got 25 years either way. I think it was in Scotland. I was reading it was in Scotland. Some man built it for to have electric for his country cottage. Okay, want to pause that and I'll go over and so I'm going to give you the answers. Let me know how you've done now. Let me know how you've done. Get on. What bird speaks in an Edgar Allan Poe poem? The raven. Who was the first woman to be elected president of the Republic of Ireland? Mary Robinson. Mary Robinson. Wasn't Mary McAleese, it was Mary Robinson. How many dragons are there usually on the TV show Dragon's Den? 5. And born in West Berlin, how is TV gardener Montague Dennis Wyatt better known as? He's Monty Don. Monty Don. From which country was the king in the movie The Keen and I? Siam. And what's the name of the aerospace company founded by Elon Musk? SpaceX. In which decade did the BBC's first broadcast in colour? The 60s. In which year was a wind turbine first used for electricity? It was in 1887. So if you put down between 1862 and 1912, gives yourselves a point. Right, let me know how you've done. And that's 32 quizzes so far. More 20 and that'll be a year. So, starting to run out of questions, but let me know how you've done. I'll have to go ready for work here. I'm a minute late. Okay, have a good weekend. I'll see you soon.